Hey everyone, Joe Waxman here. Today I want to look at the chart of Rihanna. Somebody asked me to do her chart a while ago and I haven't gotten around to it, but I said I would, so I'm doing it now. So let's not waste any time. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Now, let's see. Not that it matters much, but I always like to throw in my personal opinion, just because because I'm a Sun conjunct Venus, so my personal taste is very it's definitely something I identify with, and Rihanna is not my personal taste. But then again, who cares really? I mean, I don't even listen to music anymore, so it's like, you know, but she never was. Like I never, like I could say, like I used to listen to this music, that music. I never listened to Rihanna. However, I will say one thing. I was kind of, usually I think of these pop artists as like kind of like dumb and superficial and whatnot. But there's one video of Rihanna's that's kind of scary almost, and that's um, "Bitch Better Have My Money." I think it's called. And that's very much Pluto and Scorpio on the eighth house cusp. We'll get to that. All right. And if you haven't seen that video and you want to know what Pluto and Scorpio on the eighth house cusp looks like, go watch that video. Um, and it's one expression of that. I'm not going to say that's the only way that that could express itself, but that's one expression of that. Pretty hardcore, if you ask me. But anyway. All right, she's a Pisces sun, 11th house. It's close enough to the 12th house cusp that it's still influencing it, but I like to look at it things as I always say from like multiple angles, like 11th house, 12th house. Because sometimes it's just not clear. Like, and there's different influences, and astrology is not coming from, well, it's mixed. It's mixed bag. I mean, first of all, the planets are coming from the outside, so they're an external influence. We're interpreting them and we're adding our own influence as well. So, it's a mixture of planetary influences and our own psychic umbrella effect. Like what we believe about astrology has a psychic influence on the overall effect of astrology. That's my personal philosophy about astrology, but that's kind of a tangent. Anyway, it's it's not hard. It's not hardcore defined, is what I'm saying. And so there's 11th and 12th influence on her sun here. I mean, obviously Pisces is very creative naturally, very imaginative, very dreamy. Pisces not always, but often have a very strong spiritual leaning. They can be very hypersensitive, very victim oriented, potentially. I'm not saying Rihanna is, but just generally very much about the creative aspect and imagination and being very big. Pisces have this very, very big energy that has a quality of mimicking or mirroring whatever they receive. Like if you give a Pisces a certain kind of energy, you think like you can dominate them because they're kind of weak, they could shock you by taking all that energy in, and they'll just take it for a while, and then all of a sudden they'll throw it all back at you like a tidal wave. And it'll just like be overwhelming. That's the kind of energy a Pisces has. Then they'll go back to being very receptive because they are very receptive, right? Generally speaking, but they can be active, aggressive, proactive, kind of once in a while. But anyway, excellent for the arts, excellent for creativity. And 11th house definitely is going to make her more popular. Definitely good for networking groups, internet, computers, things like that. And then 12th house is also strong for all the creative elements and music as well. She's got a very strong first house in Aries. Moon and Venus are basically conjunct the ascendant on the 12th house side. So adding a little more creativity, but very close to the ascendant, both in Aries. I left Eris here because it's exactly conjunct the ascendant. Eris is a planet that's even further out than Pluto. I think it takes about 500 years to cycle the zodiac. And it is the female god of war. So I imagine it's quite comfortable in the sign of Aries. I don't know that it rules Aries. I don't know what planet or what sign it rules, but I'd take a guess that it's pretty comfortable in Aries. And it's been in Aries for a long time. I think it's still in Aries. But what's significant is that it's conjunct the ascendant. That's really, like, if it's not making any personal contacts, you know, especially because it's even further out than Pluto, then you probably won't even notice it. But there's something about it that is influencing Rihanna because of the conjunction to the ascendant. Now, unlike Mars or Pluto, Eris being the goddess of war, and being so far out there, there's a little more or a lot more wisdom attached to Eris compared to Mars. Eris is a lot more reluctant to fight compared to Mars, and will choose more peaceful means, but if they have to, they will fight. All right. So that's interesting. And I don't know a lot about Eris, but I just thought I'd leave it in because of the proximity to the ascendant. And Jupiter also is here in Aries. And it's making a great aspect to Mars. Actually trading places because of its mutual reception, 26, 28 degrees. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, Mars rules Aries. This is very powerful. Both are gaining dignity here. So this is a very strong Jupiter and a very strong Mars because of that. Because of this exceptional trine, it's close, within 2 degrees, mutual reception. So 9th house and 1st house Lord are trading places. And 9th house, often we think of religion and philosophy, and she might be very philosophical, I'm not sure. I don't think she's very religious, at least from what I read. There wasn't anything that said that. But 9th house is also very adventurous and loves to travel. And it's very close. It's very high in the sky. You know, when planets are here, they're close to the MC. So a lot of times it can relate to success, especially there's this stellium here that's leading into the MC. That the flow is towards the MC. So it's just adding to her strong MC. The two things that I see that are really strong in her chart are her MC and her ascendant. So the two angulars, the two very strong angulars, the 1st house ascendant and 10th house MC. And I think this Mars is just adding to that, really, making her more adventurous, more big-minded, philosophical, things like that. And 9th house is also a very lucky house of good luck. So this is a very fortunate combination here. 1st house, 9th house, exchanging energies. Jupiter, making her very big and magnanimous. Venus is ruling the 2nd house, which is her voice in the 1st house. And Venus, you know, it's not in super great dignity, but it is angular. So that's great. It obviously doesn't do very well in Aries, but you know, the 1st house is overall strong because of this. So it is gaining some dignity because of that. And, you know, you always have to look at the opposite house when a planet is not in good dignity, because there is an aspect on the opposite house. So 7th house will, you know, should be, because it receives an aspect from Venus, the 7th house should be quite good as well. You know, there was some abuse. I'm not gonna lie. So, like, you know, obviously 7th Lord and 1st house in opposite, it's, you know, in detriment. So like the, you know, abuse from Chris Brown there, but overall there should still be some good things that come out of her relationships. And 7th house in general, which oftentimes you see performers with a strong 7th house, because then they can relate to others on stage, things like that, you know. the stage setting is still, you know, that's very much fifth house, but also seventh house. Yeah. And so her voice is not why she's famous. There's certain artists, musical artists, singers that it's not that their voice is not really making them famous. It's their ascendant, their creativity, their 10th house. I think Madonna is another one. Very loaded 12th house and first house. And Rihanna said that Madonna was her idol, her inspiration, and she wanted to be like the Black Madonna. And she pretty much is. I think she's like the second all-time greatest female selling artist, something like that. I don't know how they, because I don't really care like the distinctions between all the different awards and nominations, and I don't care, right? But she's like up there, and she's got a lot of awards and stuff like that. Yeah, it's not her voice. Like, I'm not saying she doesn't have a good voice, but it's like Madonna. It wasn't her voice either. Like, Madonna's voice is okay, but it was more about Madonna. You know, it's not, we're not going to take Madonna's voice away from Madonna and be like, oh, Madonna's voice, the holy grail of voices. No, nobody cares about her voice. It's Madonna. Not that I don't even like Madonna, but I'm just trying to speak, you know, objectively here. This is pure objectivity. You can't take Rihanna's voice away from Rihanna and just be like, it's the voice, the golden voice. No, it's the whole package. It's Rihanna that people like. Okay. So this is her MC is very strong. Saturn is at 0 degrees Capricorn. Saturn rules Capricorn. So Saturn's in very good dignity. And whenever Saturn is in good dignity, you know the person is going to have a relatively smooth life because Saturn is not giving them a hard time. They have integrated Saturn very deep into their being. So they're hardworking, they have structure, they have discipline, they have respect. A good Saturn will earn you a lot of respect. And people will sense like a very strong Saturn. They'll just be like, okay, they're, you know, because Saturn is authority. Saturn rules authority figures. So people, you know, see Rihanna and they'll be like, okay, you know, like she knows she's legit. Like we'll just give her a pass. Like, you know, she can do her stuff. So anyway, a lot of successful people, not all, but a lot of successful people have a really strong Saturn. Saturn in Capricorn, Aquarius, or Libra. Right. And that it's in the same sign as their 10th house, technically 9th house by quadrant, but I can tell from my own experience, like I have Saturn at 0 degrees Leo, and my MC is about just as far. Saturn definitely influencing our MC very strongly. I think this is more of a 10th house Saturn than a 9th house Saturn, but it's still mixed. So this is very strong for her career. Saturn, a good dignity Saturn in the 10th will give her a very strong, long career. And she was discovered early on. You know, I don't know, some guy discovered her in a female band and just, you know, she just recorded some songs and became a hit, you know. Very strong career. Neptune also, you know, co-rule of Pisces, conjunct the MC in the arts, you know, arts, music, film, photography, anything like that. You know, Neptune in the 10th is excellent for that. You know, any politician that has Neptune in this position or in the 10th house, be wary of, because that's an actor, that's a liar. Great for artists and musicians, terrible for politicians like Joe Biden. Joe Biden's just never tells the truth. He lies 100% of the time. He just constant lying. But that's why people don't. All right, never mind. I don't want to go on about Joe Biden, but it's just this is something for actors, artists, musicians, dancers, mystics, even, because Neptune rules that the 12th house, Pisces kind of influence. Uranus is also conjunct her Saturn. So that's going to make her stand out very strongly. So very strong career, and Saturn is obviously stronger in Capricorn than Uranus, but it's the same degree. So Uranus is going to give her that rebellious streak, that independence, that difference. And, you know, it does harken back to the fact that she said Madonna was her inspiration, because I believe Madonna had strong Uranus as well. And Uranus is the influence that wants to stand out, that wants to be different, that wants to be unique, that doesn't want to follow. Uranus will set the fashion, will set the trend, will start the new thing, because Uranus will not follow anyone. So they're always going to completely go their own way and do their own thing and just be completely out of the box, new. Uranus is 100% new, never been seen before, ever, right? That's Uranus's hallmark signature, right? And so her career, her public image is just going to be completely Rihanna. She's unique. And what's interesting is also that her name is Rihanna. She chose Rihanna, that single name, like Madonna, right? Madonna. Like, unlike, you know, Whitney Houston, Britney Spears, you know, like all the other singers who choose two names, which I don't have a problem with. I think that's great. But what that indicates is something very strong. Probably, I think if you took like all the big artists with one name, they're going to have a very strong first house or 10th house. And it's not going to be about the voice, you know. Anyway, I mean that, you know, there could be nuance, there could be other factors there, but definitely, because it is sort of like this thing that points to some. It's about the person. It's Rihanna. It's not like, oh, Rihanna has the most excellent voice and that's why she's famous. No, it's like Rihanna's famous for being Rihanna. She can be an actor. She's like a fashion designer. Venus conjunct the Ascendant. And she's like worth over $1 billion. She's like the richest female artist, or one of the richest. I don't know who's the richest, but she's like one of the richest female singers. Her music and her fashion industry. That's, I mean, Venus is not even in good dignity, but it's accidental dignity, they call it, because it's angular. It's conjunct the Ascendant, so it's still very strong. And then Mars does gain strength. Mars and Jupiter both gain a lot of strength here. Jupiter, luck, expansion, all the good things. You know, being a date chart, then it's even more beneficial being in the first house. What else? Lilith is trying the Ascendant, and Lilith often, especially with females, if it's strongly aspected, will signify like a sex symbol, or like a female sexuality, right? And because it's trying the Ascendant in the 5th house, that's very prominent for her, and she is like this not only fashion icon, she is like a sex symbol, right? So Lilith is strongly playing into her chart as well. Mercury also not quite angular. It's on the 11th house, but still very influential, especially South Node in Virgo. So when she's young, and she did get discovered young, it's bringing her up to career success already and money. You understand? Because South Node is active first half of life. So this is 6th house. So this is you know, hard work, and you know, she did have health issues when she was young also. That's interesting. But they faded away. So South Node gets weaker as you get older, and then at 42 it fully switches over to the North Node. She's still quite young. 1988. Her South Node is still somewhat active. And that's giving her a lot of career success. North Node in Pisces, it's going to activate her sun. She's not going away. She'll probably get even more creative and, you know, even more popular, because then the North Node is going to activate her sun and her Jupiter and her Neptune. So, I mean, Ron is probably just going to have a very long, successful career. I mean, Saturn indicates long Saturn, Saturn, good dignity, Saturn, any dignity is about length, right? You can either suffer for a long time with a weak Saturn, or if a good dignity Saturn, long success, long wherever it is in the chart, however it's aspected, it'll be long. So long career, because 10th house, right? Long successful career. Yeah, I imagine her fashion business will just keep being a success. She'll keep making hits and whatnot. Mercury is bringing in third house and sixth house in the 11th house. So she's bringing in a lot of conflict here with her Mercury. So she can get into trouble, especially with her mouth. She can make enemies. She's probably very competitive with the groups and friends, things like that. Yeah. Chiron is square the nodes, which is really interesting. Chiron's a bit of a mystery sometimes. It is retrograde, but it's in the third house of siblings, friendship. So I imagine squares to the nodes indicate some sort of destiny. It's sort of like connection to the south. It's sort of like a work in progress, right? Because south nodes, which you already been through, north nodes, what you need to learn. The squares to the nodes are sort of in between. It's like part south node, part north node. And it's square, so it's a hard aspect. It's exactly square. Chiron really only is effective when it's making strong aspects to planets or points. And here it is strongly aspected. Third house, expression, communication. So this might indicate something with her intellect or her ability to communicate or something. I'm not sure, and I didn't read it in Wikipedia, and I don't know her enough well personally, but there's something going on with Chiron, third house, Gemini, communication, friends, siblings, things like that, issues around that, especially when young. It is retrograde, so I don't know how that's going to influence it. Maybe less so, but there's going to be issues here. Learning disability, perhaps. Not sure, but there's going to be something. And I think if anyone knows Rihanna well enough, they'll be able to identify some issues around this. Chiron, third house, Gemini. Something. Maybe she had a falling out with her siblings or friends or her, I don't know. Maybe she's always getting in fights with her neighbors. Don't know. Anyway. But Chiron's also the healer. So there's potential for a lot of healing as well. Especially as she gets older and matures, and learns how to properly use anyway. Pluto and Scorpio in the 8th house. Like I said, if you've not watched that video, bitch better have my money, something like that. And you want to be kind of shocked and entertained at the same time, go watch it. There's nudity, there's violence, there's yeah, it's like a movie, basically, the video. It's very gruesome, brutal, harsh, hardcore, scary, intimidating, and like it has that wow factor, that shock factor. And she's definitely not like just this dumb pop artist. She definitely has that I don't know, I want to say gangster mentality, but I mean it's all for show. Obviously she's an actress, artist, but still it's like, she has that Pluto, Scorpio, depth, passion, aggression. So I don't know. Anyway, it is what it is. She made the video, not me. What else? Mercury's retrograde. That's not going to negative. I mean, that hasn't gotten in her way. I don't know what she's like personally, but you know, Mercury retrograde can be a little like introverted sometimes. But I just pull up this. These are stars. Let's see here. Pluto is conjunct Acrux. That Acrux, that's where my North Node is. That's how I know about it. That's a mark of an occultist, an astrologer, Acrux. It's on the Southern Cross. It's one of the points on the Southern Cross, and it marks an occultist or an astrologer. So I think she's into the occult, being her Pluto's in Scorpio in the 8th house, conjunct Acrux. So yeah, occult, astrology, all those things will appeal to her. Sun conjunct Fomalhaut by 2 degrees. I actually don't. I know this is a big star. I don't know the details about it, and I didn't research it yet. But opposite Regulus. I know that's significant. It's one of the big stars. So Hella, Chiron. Anyway, I think those were the 2 ones that I wanted to point out. And part of fortunes in Taurus in the 2nd house, obviously indicating money, wealth, Taurus. 2nd house, yeah, 2nd house Lord in the 1st house. I mean, definitely. And 11th house, you know, being activated as well. Excellent chart. I mean, you know, it's no wonder she's superstar. This is a superstar's chart. So that's it for Rihanna, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Found it interesting. If you'd like to book a reading, go to my website, macroastrology.com, or email me at macrogoldmachine@yahoo.com. That's it for now. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.